Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Gray Area here on the BMU Network. I'm Mr. Bennett with my partner, as always,
This is Sparta!
the Ghost of Sparta, aka Peter, aka Paniotis. Yasu, my brother, what's going on?
What is going on, my man? How are you tonight?
I am doing good. I'm doing a little better. I was a little under the weather this weekend. I took my own advices, and I did not work out this weekend. I decided, you know what? Let me, just kind of chill for the weekend. I'm feeling a lot better now. Definitely, I have a workout coming up on Wednesday, so I'm going to take heed to that and get back on it. But starting to feel better. And spend some time. It's been a very interesting few days. Last Thursday, I went to my first Usher concert, which was an interesting experience, to say the least. I mean, I wasn't expecting that. I guess I should have. I'm not a huge Usher fan per se. I know a lot of his hits. He's been relevant. I gotta salute the guy. The guy's been making music and being relevant for like 30 years. You know what I mean? And he's just continued to stay in the mainstream. He's still like up there with like the top 2-3 artists today. He's got a hit now that's out there that's pretty popular. So I got to give the guy credit that he still is staying popular, and certainly that fan base was out there. So so I went there, and again that was an interesting experience. And then I was that was in Brooklyn, and then I went back to the city Saturday with the daughters. Now I was trying to have a nice family kind of get together in New York City. The initial plan was for us to go to Rockefeller Center. They got the big Christmas tree out there, and say, hey, it'd be cool. Let's get some Christmas photos out there and whatnot. But due to a variety of events, we never got there. And but we did check out some visitors. There's one cool architectural structure in Manhattan called the Vessel. That if you check my Facebook page, I had a video of it, but it's a spiraling kind of structure, and you go up several flights. So again, if you're not in shape, I wouldn't try it at home if you're not in shape to go up all those stairs. But it's a beautiful structure. It's right near a big mall, like I said, right in the middle of Manhattan there. So very very nice architectural piece, and we had some fun, but with four sets of female hormones out there, so that was bound to go down at some point or whatever. So it's like they're not, they're not the kids in the minivan anymore. You know what I mean? So I got 4 grown women, and each one of them has their own idiosyncrasies, and so just kind of managing some of that. So it was interesting. That might be my last shot of getting everybody together. In terms of let's just go somewhere and check out something. But they're grown ladies. They have their own way of thinking. They have their own way of doing things and whatnot. So I was like, I may have to go hit Rockefeller Center on my own. You know what? Just because I work in Secaucus, so I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna get the train into New York and just hit it, take some pics, and come back. It's just on my bucket list. There's a lot of
special episode from the Gray Area from there too.
True. I mean, it's so yeah. I mean, the invitation's open. I mean, so we might have to do that. Yeah, it's weird. I could probably get more done with my buddies than with the ladies.
It's funny you said that, because I realized over the years, and my whole backstory of my family and everything, and I've been open that my family's not the greatest. But when I did with communication, it always seems so fucking hard to get people together. Like, it's scheduling. Somebody doesn't want to drive to you, because an hour drive is far. Oh my god, I'm driving an hour. Oh my god, it's so hard. Go the fuck up.
Yeah.
People.
Yeah. It's hard. It's harder to keep everybody on point. And I'm a very structured. Now I don't mind. Like you have like an outline, right? I don't mind a little flexibility if we're in the middle of something. Hey, if there's another opportunity that comes up in the middle of it, fine. As long as we hit the main outline points. So I think what's frustrating yesterday is that we never got to do the one thing that I really originally set out to do. We did some other things that like I said, it was nice. The Vessel was not on the plan, but I was glad I saw it because I like that kind of stuff. So it's like, okay, that's cool. But the way the day ended, we never got to the final destination. And so it was like, so I'm very structured. I like to plan it, do it, and that sort of thing. And that's why you when I go on vacation, it's going to be like, same thing. We have an agenda. We have excursions and things like that. But the question is still going to be, okay, are we going to stay on task, or are we just going to let the day get away from us? Also, keeping in mind, it's still winter time. So it's still going to be sunset like 4:35. So it's not like we're going to have like the whole day like we would in the summer to hang out in the ports and everything like that. We got to be mindful of the amount of daylight that we have in that as well. So I'm still, kind of getting used to this sort of empty nest thing, getting back in the travel and whatnot. And also I have to also understand, my own energy. I mean, one of the benefits and blessings of being, I'm always promoting fitness over 50 is that, it allows you to do things that a lot of guys who are my age or older can't do. So like I said, when we went on the vessel, I was like, hey, let's hit it. I was running up there and whatnot. And I had the girls are like, oh, I'm so tired. How many more steps we got to go up? Oh, it's like, look, how is it that I'm 30 years older than you guys, and I'm still whipping, you guys. You know what I mean? So it's like, let's go. So I still have that mindset of just go. You know what I mean? It's like, especially when I go on vacation someplace, it's not like I've traveled all over the world, been there and done that and things like that. And I think that's also part of what my girls also, because they've seen a lot of things already. You know what I mean? Like my girls have seen things that at 2021 that I'm still yet to see at my age of my 50s that I'm hoping to get to within, sort of the second half, because obviously we sacrifice for them, but they've already been to, I got a daughter, she's already been to Hawaii already. I'm like, that's on my bucket list. You know what I mean? So it's yeah.
The only pushback I got for you, my man, and I think you're going to agree with me a little bit, but you don't listen to your own advice, like you said. You might work out so hard, but you work a job 40 plus hours a week. So you don't really have time to rest during the week because you got the streams, you work all these hours and do everything else. Now you are going hardcore on weekends, is wake up, who knows what time you wake up, start where you work out, then do whatever errands you got to do. When do you rest? Maybe this weekend you don't feel
honestly
like
Sunday afternoons after I get home from church, I get a meal in and I catch like a 3-4 hour nap in that time, and that's generally when I do get rest is in that time, because I'm up late preparing for Sunday, so I'm up late like I teach Sunday school, so I get all my lessons together and everything and just make sure everything's on point. So sometimes that keeps me up late into the evening. Like after I get off the hangout is a lot of times where I'm still doing stuff. So it's like, and that'll carry me into the AM. So yeah, but usually Sunday afternoons I try to veg and not do too much. But you're right. But certainly Monday through Saturday, it's kind of nice. And then also Monday nights, I tend to take it easy because there's no streams on Monday night. So, when I get home or whatnot, I kind of stay off stuff. Guys be like, hey, come on this or whatever. And I say, nah, So Mondays I generally take the night off. And Thursdays, outside of your show, which like I said, that's what I'm kind of 50-50 on. But I'm definitely learning to scale back on some things and not take on too much going on. But I'm still that person. I still I still have a mindset that, look, you can sleep when you're dead. I'm kind of that guy. Like 16 hours, I need to be doing something. If you flipped it and, I only did 8 hours or something, I feel like my day isn't done yet. So I got
that part. You need to find time to rest too. And the body better than I do. If the body
the weird thing about it is now, like, especially around the holidays, like Thanksgiving or whatnot, I do get a ton of rest. But the problem with that is it's almost like it's too much rest. I get very lethargic. Like I think Thursday, like that last couple weeks old, like Thanksgiving, I think I might have slept until I was in bed till noon, and then I got up and whatnot and start preparing because I did everything like the night before. So I slept until I couldn't sleep anymore, and I was just hanging out. And the more I did that, and then I did the same thing on Friday, and I just felt like very lethargic, like blah. Bless you. I just like very blah. You know what I mean? It's like I got no energy or something. So I kind of work better off of 5 or 6 hours of sleep versus 8-9 hours of sleep. That's sweet. So again, 7 is more than enough for me. If I get more than 7 hours of sleep, I just feel like I'm in this fog or this haze that I can't shake myself out of. So I'd rather be doing something rather than just just vegging out. That's just me. I need to, and that doesn't mean I'm strenuous all the time, but I need to be doing something.
Yeah, I get it. And I'm just saying, don't forget to listen to your body. That's what I'm saying to you.
Yeah, well, obviously, certainly when I'm sick, or like I said, this weekend, I definitely, took a pause and whatnot. I didn't have a fever or anything like that. I didn't have, the virus or anything like that. But it was just like, you know what, you can sit this one out, and I was good. I was good with that. But even on vacation, like I'm still not to the point now where I can just go on vacation and just lay on the beach all day. I just can't do it. I mean, we one of the excursions we're going on, we sort of intend to do that, but that's not going to be like the entire day. Or some people, like, they go to like a resort and they just hang out at the pool all day. You know what I mean? On the, and order drinks and just, veg out. That I'm not that kind of guy. Like, I like to get into the culture. I like to get into, how the real people live, because the resorts is almost like Disney World. It's like, it's not the reality, especially in a lot of these Caribbean spots. So I like to see, like, like the real, the real atmosphere and the environment and the real culture a lot of times. So again, I'm a constant go guy. I may give myself a day or two, especially if we had to travel, like, to get in there. So okay, like, so we get in there. Okay, fine. The first day, let's just relax and get some sleep and whatnot, and recover from the airline, the travel, and the bag claim and all that stuff. Fine, let's get a day of rest in there. After that, though, what are we doing today? What are we doing tomorrow? What are we doing? Bum, 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 bum. So I'm very organized and structured, because, my thing is, I don't know if I'm, whatever place I'm in, especially if it's a foreign country or a place that, in the country that I've never been, I can't take for granted that I'll ever see this spot again. So I would hate to be in a place and be like, you know what, I never got a chance to see this, even though I could have, but I didn't. And but my wife, she's much more of the, she just wants to chill. And so, in that respect, we're growing more different, in that I still have a lot of youthful energy that I had in my 20s and my 30s. Now, my body sometimes doesn't always respond to that, but I still have it. I still have that young mind that just go. And yeah.
Is because you guys are sound like you're a little bit opposite. So will you say you're like a yin and yang? You kind of balance each other out a little bit?
It's interesting because I think it's changed over the years. I think we might have been a bit more the same in our younger years. I mean, I think I've always been sort of like the leader, the driver. She's definitely more of a B personality. I thought I was a B personality as well until I got with her, because she's like very laid back. So I think that it works to some extent, but then it can get frustrating at the same time, because I have this, yay, let's go. I kind of have this kid energy. Hey, let's take this mountain, and she's kind of like, no, I'll just chill right here. I'm like, come on, let's go. And so sometimes, in fact, we've gotten in, it's weird, we've gotten in some spats. Sometimes even on vacation is like, oh yeah, it's like, oh, you don't want to do anything. It's like, oh, I don't know. That looks kind of dangerous. I don't know. It was like, come on. It was like, you got safeties and everything.
If I talk to your wife about doing skydiving, she's gonna probably try to kick
See,
my ass.
Again, there's levels. You have to take it to the ultimate level there. I'm not skydiving, right? But I would certainly, I'll zip line. I might even, I'll rappel.
Look at me in the eye and tell me
I'm not going to
craziness I bring.
Oh, totally. I totally get that. But I'm telling you, I'm not skydiving. So I'm not taking that kind of risk. But I certainly, but I still have a go mentality. Whereas my wife is I guess becoming a bit more laid back than I am. So sometimes on vacation, we might almost have to split it up. But for me, that's kind of it can be frustrating sometimes, because again, the whole reason to go on vacation is to be with her. You know what I mean? You want to do things together, and you want to share these experiences together and whatnot. But I think that I think we've always had, because our personalities are so different, we've always had a him, hers, and ours mentality. You know what I mean? There's things that I like, there's things that she likes, and there's things that we like to do together. So there's always been that division of labor when it comes to excursions or activities and whatnot. Hey, if there's a movie she wants to really go see that I don't, hey, go knock yourself out. Same thing with me. She doesn't see every Avengers Marvel movie or whatever. Or any, she's like, hey, you know what?
I don't
Hey,
see her
enjoy.
coming to Comic Con with us next year.
No, no. And like I said, she would have been. Oh, we've been walking for 4 hours. Oh, I'm tired. Oh, I just want to chill out. So I'm like, no. So I knew off the rip that Comic Con would not work for her. But what'll always work? A nice restaurant with some good food. That's her love language, right? Good food with nice desserts and whatnot. That's always going to be her love
Girl,
language.
bro. That's what girls like to do. Chill. Don't do anything
Yeah.
crazy. Just same thing with Boss Man's wife. When she was on the streams, like the other night, she seems like a woman that just wants to chill. Girl again, like chill, doesn't want to do much. Maybe go dance is the most excitement thing those two girls probably will see in their lives.
Yeah. Now dancing will do. Now that we both enjoy, especially if you get some good music. Like I love like '90s Chicago house music. You get some good house music on. We used to be on the floor like literally for hours, like a good stretch, 45 minutes to an hour straight, sweat just dripping off of us. We would love just to dance for hours at a time. So hopefully, either on the ship or what's that?
I can see you guys doing Zumba together.
Yeah, we've even talked about that, taking some dance lessons, either Zumba, or tango, or some dance lessons. We've talked about that, so we may decide to do. That's right, that's right. We may decide to do some things like that in the future as well. But again, we just have to be very strategic because if I even sense that she's kind of like not embracing something, now she'll be like, well, because you want to do it, yeah, fine, I'll do it. But you know, in the back of your mind, she really doesn't want to do it, which for me is always kind of like you're kind of following along, but you're not really gung ho about it. So so those things I have to be mindful of when we do certain things. If she's really not super enthused, then I don't like to force it. So yeah. So I mean, we're but like I said, staying fit. I just to get back to that main point, staying fit really gives you. And she's pretty fit. For her age, she's very fit. I mean, but it's a different level. And I still have this thing where I want to do some adventure things. I can certainly see doing some rappelling off of like a I guess a mountain or whatever. I actually doing certain things, but nothing like where my life is in danger. I have I don't want to bungee jump off of this 300-foot dam or whatever, or a bridge. I don't want to do that kind of stuff. But yeah, there's certain things that I still say, hey, you know what? Let's give these things some shots. So again, it's an adjustment. And I have to be mindful of her, her sensitivities and whatnot as well. And like I said, when you look at none of my daughters are like super adventurous like that. So I have to be mindful that, dad is just this big kid who just wants to go and just run all day or whatnot. And it's like, so sometimes I'll be like, all right, look, you girls hanging out the spa, you get your massages and stuff like that. Now, I'll see you guys back. 5 o'clock, we'll meet for dinner at this place. And sometimes you got to do that. So, but in any event, again, thank you everyone for coming to the show. That was kind of like the warm up, talking about, my vacation plans and aging and all that kind of stuff. But obviously that's not the topic of the show tonight, but I just want to certainly appreciate the chat that came in. Milani, as always, Catalia, 10-3 Steelers, go Steelers. We are in the running. So again, good to see you ladies tonight, as always, supporting us. We really appreciate it. Certainly, Mariana Constantine, thank you also for coming in tonight as well to support us. Really appreciate it. My man, Eric, is also in the house tonight as well. So again, appreciate you, my brother, as always, supporting. And certainly the only thing we ask is as you come in, just make sure you hit the like button, not only on the BMU Network channel, but also go to the Sparta HQ Network and also support the channel as well. And you have some news that now Sparta HQ is also, I believe, on Instagram.
Yes, we opened our first Instagram page the other day. It's in prescription of my channel. It's a work in progress. After, I believe, 30 days, it says, we will be going live. So we'll be live between 3 channels, 3 platforms, excuse me. My man CQ's in the house.
That's right. That's right. It was good, bro. Good. Thanks for stopping through.
Streaming 3 platforms. The first one we're going to be streaming is obviously Facebook. We're going to be streaming also from Facebook. and YouTube and our YouTube and my personal YouTube channel. So we'll be streaming from twice from YouTube on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. And I'm hopefully I get enough prescribed to hit TikTok too, because we are on TikTok also. So we are
Mm,
actually growing. Not as fast as I like, but we're growing. So if you guys haven't hit that
that's right.
like on our YouTube channel, please hit the like on excuse me, subscribe on our YouTube channel. Please hit that. If you haven't done Instagram, you better hit the Instagram. You haven't hit the TikTok. What the hell are you waiting for? Go to the Instagram, say hi, hit the subscribe, help us
Absolutely.
out.
Absolutely, absolutely. And as obviously you can see scrolling at the bottom of the screen, there are certainly our Cash App. Certainly consider subscribing to both networks. Certainly BMU Network. Consider dropping a Cash App to the Black Man Unfiltered Network, but also to Grooming's Fund, because again we're funding his Sky Jump. So again we're going to live vicariously through Peter when he makes
Time out.
this jump. So
I have
again,
my
drop a
partner
Cash App
in
to him to support his effort there.
I have my partner in crime who's going to jump with me. CQ already admitted he's going to jump. So CQ,
Oh,
please
CQ.
tell
Oh
me in the
yeah, well you
chat.
did that for a
Hang
living,
on, hang
so
on, hang on, hang on, hang on. Don't get jump ahead of me. Tell Paul why it's a great idea him to jump with us for my 4 years birthday. There is no reason he should say no. He's arguing saying no. So let's convince him he's going to skydive. Or we can do the military boot thing. As he holds there, we both kick him in the ass and push him at the point. That's a great idea. No?
no, y'all gonna have to do that drive by, man. Drive by, stick me in a box or a bag or whatever, and just throw me out the plane. I'm gonna be like B.A. Baracus, right? From the 18, I'm gonna be like B.A. I'm just like, what? I'm in a plane. I'm in a plane. I'm gonna get you, Hannibal. I'm gonna get you, face. I'll pit it through or put me in this plane. So yeah, you're gonna be Murdoch, and I'll be like choking you. So that's what it's gonna be like. I'll be straight like B.A. Baracus. You try to get me to jump out of a plane, but but with that, again, thank you all for stopping on through tonight. And tonight, I mean, certainly, this is one of certain Peter's topics. So I know he wants to talk about products, or the products specific to Greece or to the U.S. So I'll let you set up the topic, and we can certainly toss it around.
I was shopping the other day, and I realized we pay a lot of money for clothing, cologne, food, all this stuff. And some of this stuff is like, what's the word looking for? Shitty, cheap, garbage.
Mhm.
You're paying like $100 something for this stuff. And you're wondering, like, why are you paying all this money in a year, maybe 2 years, if you get that much? Sometimes you get 6 months. Great example. I had a 49-inch screen from Samsung. The damn thing that took a shit on me. Brand new. Not even having more than a month. The thing that took a crap on me. I'm not saying Samsung fault. I know it's a bad badge, but we are paying products, any kind of products. If things take crap, like our iPhones, like these take a crap eventually. But we're paying 15 to 2,000 for phones.
Right.
We're paying
Right.
like what, close to what, 3-4 grand just for the PC build. Or you get an alien where you might pay 5K, okay, whatever the case is. We're paying all this money,
Right.
but where's the value actually out of it? Maybe you get the dopamine rush.
Yeah.
Oh, I got the new PC. I got the new PlayStation. Yes, PlayStation is better than Xbox CQ. But all this stuff. But we get dopamine rush. But what is in the long run? Like, good example, PlayStation and Xbox. They only last what, 4 to 8 years now, and then a new generation systems come out. Like you have to drop another $500-$600 into it, if that's how much it's going to be. Maybe more next time. Or higher, or whatever.
Right.
Depending if you get batteries, you get extra controllers, headphones, whatever the case is. You might be into it 1,000 sometimes. But again, how and why do we spend all the money like that? It makes me start thinking.
Right.
Go ahead, Paul.
No, go ahead. No, finish your point. Finish your point.
I think there are better things to spend our monies on. And I'm a hypocrite too. Like I like my nice stuff too. Like everybody else, like you and me. You like your nice shirt, like you're wearing tonight, or a nice pair of boots, or whatever the case is. I have a very expensive taste. I know that.
Yeah.
But I found like the same product I can get by here, that is a couple $100, is only half and less in Greece. Yes, I know the currency is different, but let's take that equation out of the way, and it's still the same. Might not be a name brand. Might be some mom and pop shop. Think about it. Go ahead. What you had on this poll?
Nah, I certainly agree that I think the consumerism, especially in the United States, is one of the reasons why does an iPhone or any kind of device, why does it cost $1,500 to $2,000, is because Americans are willing to pay for it. Bottom line. I mean, this is economics 101. This is supply side and demand side economics. This is guns versus butter. And it just gets down to, again, what we will be willing to consume for consumers' sake. I mean, a lot of things don't have value. Like, I grew up in an era where, again, when sneakers became like collectibles and guys were willing to pay for Air Jordans. I mean, in fact, folks used to get deleted over sneakers. Just the sense of what was considered valuable back then, I think it certainly changed with subsequent generations. I think last week we were talking about, again, this is really for the Gen Xers. Y'all remember this. Go back to the Cabbage Patch dolls back in the 80s when those guys came out. And they were showing videos of like fights breaking out in stores and whatnot because everybody was grabbing up these Cabbage Patch dolls and whatnot. I'm thinking, I think the consumerism, certainly in the U.S. and many developed countries, where again the demand for those products is such that it just automatically is just going to drive up the prices. Whereas, like you said, there's certain products that will probably give you a better value if you didn't concern yourself so much with brand names. That's another thing. I mean, I think in America we're much more brand conscious. I think you mentioned that in the past that Greeks weren't necessarily into brand. Now again, that might be changing. I mean, back in 10, 12 years ago, maybe it didn't matter as much, but certainly in recent years, I mean, these companies and advertisers, they have global outreach, especially with social media now. So again, brands may be more important to people now than what they used to. But at the end of the day, it's like, is it giving you the value for what you're spending? And I know for me, I made a decision, a long time ago. Like, I really don't consider brands. Like you said, the shirt that I'm wearing, I got this shirt from a thrift store, maybe about 4 or 5 years ago, for maybe $10. So I shop. Like I said, I'm a Marshallholic. I admit that. I will go to Marshalls and I will, in fact, I almost pulled the trigger. You had these nice sneakers for like $25. And I probably could have got them for like 22, but I said no. One, they weren't exactly the size that I needed, so I put them down. So, but I like just going in there, and sometimes I find a diamond in the rough when I'm there. But Marshalls, thrift stores, I buy stuff off of eBay or Poshmark. That's another place where I've gotten clothing, shoes, you name it there. So again, I'm just not willing to pay. In most instances, I'm not willing to pay top dollar for a lot of this merch that a lot of people that pull it out, unless there's something that I can really leverage. So if it's like a tech item, or if it's something that's going to help me with work, or be more productive work wise or whatever, I may consider that an investment. But just for tech, like I know last Christmas I bought a 70-inch TV from what was it? Forgot the name. Not Fifth Avenue, but one of the big companies. $250.
Oh, you got steal
but
on that.
It's a brand name that you never heard of. It's a Japanese company that, and for some reason, you're always on Black Friday. They get these Black Friday sale items or whatnot, and they still had the TVs available. But it's like again a 70-inch TV for like $250. And I didn't care if it was Sony. Now, back in the day, brands meant something. Like I remember growing up, if you grew up in the 80s, Sony was always considered like a high-end brand. And they always charged more. Like you would get like a Zenith or a Magnavox TV for like $400, but a Sony was like double the cost. Because, again, they said what you were paying for was the quality of the item. But even then, it got to a point where, again, how long are you talking about owning an item? I mean, I think today everything is so disposable. You talk about the cheap stuff is because no one builds anything to last anymore. Everything is meant to go ahead.
All right. One example A. So I had mentioned before, my mom's very hard on her TVs. She has it on 24 hours, on the 100 max, whatever. So I gave her my old TV, the LG 45-inch. We had that TV for over about 20 years we had it for when the plasma TVs first
Exactly.
came out.
Same
And
here.
it just
Yep.
shit on us last summer. And that's the only reason she got my old 75 and I got myself an 85. That's the only reason, because I'm not giving you a new brand new TV. I'll give you another good example. Actually, I'm going to bring up some cues for a minute here. So I was at his house. I was like, yo, is this the same Sony you had when you were in PA? He goes, funny you just said that. He goes to me, I just got rid of it. And there's nothing really wrong with it. We just wanted an upgrade. And he just gave it to somebody or whatever the case is. I don't remember, to be honest with you. But
Right.
some TVs do last for a while. Yeah, the technology is obsolete. Obviously, if you're got a smart TV, you're not going to have all the apps in it and all that stuff. Depends who's using it. Like my mother just needs something like turn on, turn off, volume on, volume down. That's all she needs. She doesn't need anything too fancy. And that goes where the tech. I agree with you. Like when she got sick, I needed cameras in his house to make sure she's okay out 24 hours because I can't afford a nurse, to be honest with you guys. So I spent money on those cameras. I got the cheap ones at first. I got the Blink, and I realized fast, crap, these are crappy, and so I needed an upgrade. So I ended up getting the Google Pixel cameras for the house. 9 days. Yeah, I paid close to $200-300 for these cameras, but they was worth it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. There's some systems, some things you bought that survived. Like it's funny.
100%.
VCRs, they were meant to survive. Now the VCR tapes, that is a question of their own.
That's another. Yeah. Oh, I've had to put the hammer to a few of them because they chewed up a tape of mine. And I was like, back then. But yeah, but right. I remember when we got married. So we got married in '97. And we, a lot of the items that we got as wedding gifts, like we had a microwave that lasted like 24 years, a microwave. We had a television. Again, we got that wedding gift. I replaced that back in 2017. So again, you're talking, again, 20 years. It was a big 50-inch projection TV. Again, didn't have all the bells and whistles and whatnot on it, but again, I mean, we had our kids that were young and all that. They didn't need 4K, and so my thing was I couldn't justify spending again. And back then, it's interesting how the price all went down. I said talk about spending $250 for a 70-inch 4K TV set, but back then, I mean, when those HD TVs first came out, they were like $10,000, $8,000, $6,000. So I couldn't justify dropping that kind of money just on a TV set. And now it's to the point where you can get, especially like I said, Black Friday, whatever, you can get certainly a comparable set for in the hundreds of dollars, not the thousands anymore. But again, some people like the idea of owning, the brand name or the whatever that is, and it's so a lot of people they don't have a mentality. It's like, okay, this thing's got to last me up a long period of time. But look at appliances. I mean, the refrigerator that you probably grew up on in the 70s and the 80s. Again, you never replaced a refrigerator.
Austin, do you hear
or an icebox.
A black man's comment, please. So literally just what you said. He has
absolutely.
Years. He probably grew up in that freezer, knowing him. No offense. Yeah. And those last, they'll like the freezers that you saw in a restaurant, like you open those up and like a metal door. You could literally survive a nuclear attack. No fun intended.
Right.
That is.
And a few years ago, it wasn't until the 80s that you heard of things like extended warranties. Like you didn't buy it, they weren't. I think, and they even said that even with those warranties, at least their ways to talk about it was that's like the worst thing to buy because the thing it's more likely than not that the thing that you're buying is going to outlive the value of the warranty. So warranties was like a 100% profit for the store that was selling it. Like it gave you really no value, but people was like, they got talked into like a 1 year, 3 year, 5 year. I appreciate your champ talk. Thanks for stopping through. No one even considered that. Now it's almost like, you go in and you get, the guy, he tried to sell us one at Circuit City. It's like, for $250, what kind of warranty are you going to sell? Like the warranty he's selling me is half the value of the TV set. So if I get 5 years out this guy, I'm good. So I was like, no, I want it as is. And look, he said, okay, he didn't fight me on it, but they used to have some real strong sales tactics and things like that and whatnot. But I think they're getting wise to the game also. That even though the stuff doesn't last the way it used to, buying an extended warranty on it is generally money down the drain. For the most part.
I got two stories here. I have somebody I know who owns like about a big ass property, and they have trackers from her stepdad. She has 5 different kinds. The one I told her, don't get rid of this one. This one's worth the money. When they hang on to it, it's an old school John Deere. It looked like it's from at least the 60s or 70s. I want to say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you turn it on, boom, it goes right on. So
there you go. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's one example. The other example, I have a snowblower outside my apartment. And you look at me like, why the fuck do you have a snowblower outside your apartment, Pete? I'm not getting rid of that damn thing because when I move out of this apartment and then get my own house, I have a snowblower already. I had it when I had my house. People have offered me money for it all the time. I go, listen, I'm not selling that less than $300. Oh, it's worth only $100. Like, yeah, you want $100 because this old Craftsman snowblower probably kicks ass. They need all these old Craftsman ones. I remember going.
You're right. I still have mine.
Yeah, you saw it outside my apartment. You remember that thing? And people laugh at me. Like,
absolutely. Well, yeah, we got it. Look, that was my first major. I built my house in 2001. My first major purchase. This was October of 2001. So my first major purchase was a snowblower. Again, a Sears Craftsman snowblower. So you're talking 23 years, coming up on 23 years, and still to sell more of them. Why didn't it last us to sell more? Again, the industry changed. It was like, again, you bought, like back then, you bought like the Kirby vacuum cleaner, lasted 30 years. You bought, or the Electrolux or the whatever it was, meant to last. Now they're like, again, and people just, again, our spending habits change where people just want something just to want something. It's like my wife, she was on me for years. I bought a Symphony 6 vacuum. They used to sell it like commercially, like it was like one of those vacuums that you a salesman would sell to you. You know what I mean? It was almost like the guy, maybe not door to door, but it was like a one of those. And I bought it at a thrift shop for $20. Now this is after my Dyson. I spent $300, like $350 on a Dyson that died. Sure. It didn't die. I still use it. The suction still works, but the to replace the belt that turns the brushes, that's going to be like a couple $100 repair. And I was like, you know what? It's not worth it. So again, I bought this vacuum for $20. The only thing I had to get done to it was the cord got a little damaged or whatever. I took it to a vacuum repair shop. He replaced it for $30. It's still the best vacuum I've ever used. It's got a HEPA filter on it. It's 12 amps of power. You can really see it sucking the carpet up. I mean, it's so powerful. And my wife, she was like, can we just get another vacuum? I don't know. I just want another vacuum cleaner. I'm like, what? I'm like, why do you want to spend for another vacuum? I just want a new vacuum. I mean, she just like, so I had to put, it's like, no, I'm not spending any more money for a vacuum cleaner. We got the best vacuum cleaner that we ever had. There it is. So I still use it. So I think I bought that one like 10 years ago. So again, I'm wherever I could find a deal, used or whatever, secondhand or whatever, I'm always down. I've only bought a new car once in my life, once. And that was when we just had our first child. And so definitely we were going to get a minivan. And at the time, I didn't know that much about minivans. So I bought a new one. And says that I can't shop at thrift shops anymore because they rarely have my size. People glorify having too much big packs, too much. Okay. Now I can, if I can find it, I bought a tuxedo, a tux at a thrift shop. They had a whole line of, I guess it was like one of those rental stores or whatever, and they just gave away. They had a whole rack of tuxedos. I bought one for like $20. I paid a tailor $50 to really take it in and tighten it up and everything. Boom, I got a tux. I rarely wear it, but I got one if I need, because especially in my young 20s, I was going to like weddings and high events almost like every month. So I was like, man, I'm spending this money to rent one. I need to buy one, but I just feel like spending a couple $100 on a tuxedo. So again, $20, I bought a tux. But the idea is, again, if I can find a deal, I will always look for it, used or otherwise. And secondhand, if I can jimmy it up or fix it up or whatever, repair something. But again, only bought one new car. Generally, and that's generally my policy. I will never buy a car new. I always buy like a 1 or 2 year, so especially something that's coming off lease. Because again, the depreciation on a new car is like 30% in the first year. And so I will never buy a car new unless I got money like that. 30%, yeah, it just you take as soon as you drive the car off the lot is when it takes the biggest hit in its value. So that's what I'm saying. So you might as well buy 1 or 2 year, save some of that money, if you want to get now in that case, if you want to get like an extended, if it doesn't come with a bumper to bumper 660 or 880 or whatever it is, if you think it's worth it to get something extra on it, then fine. But brand new, you have to really, the money has to be really good for if you want me to buy a new car.
Only pushback I have is two things here. Drifters. So I have a thing about secondhand clothes. Listen, I don't know what you have. I feel very uncomfortable wearing those kind of clothes. So I go to the stuff they're trying to get rid of on their clearance rack. Like, and people give me shit all the time. Like, why buy
that too? Oh, totally. Yeah. Red tag. I love red tags.
Yeah. I
love red tag. Red tag.
Yeah. Recently, I was at Kevin Klein's and at the outlets crossings over here, and I bought a bunch of stuff. Like, I knew I was going to spend a little money, and I looked at like, shit's going to cost at least $500. I know it. I saw 500, 400, 300, 200, 150, 120. I'm like, that's it? Goes, yeah. If you want like 10 more percent, you just text that number. It'll give you more terms. Like, it came out like $170 on it. And I'm like, oh, I like this place right now. Like, I walked in with like fucking 5 jeans, 5 sweatpants, 2 hoodies, a couple socks, and that usually costs you $500 at Kevin Klein. That's a high brand name. I was very happy. Now, with a car, here's my issue with used cars. Sometimes you don't know what the hell you're getting. So I personally go to new because at least that's my personal headaches. And you're right about the value. You lose 50% of the value once you drive it off, 30, 40% of everything. By me, it's more a sleep better at night because I drive 45 minutes to work and I only have one vehicle. And like, if I take a shit, I'm fucked. So I prefer to pay a little extra brand new and have my bed. And again, brand new, you can have headaches too. I'm not down that one bit. But only other perspective to that also I have, I know a SUV or a sedan car loses a lot of value over the years. One of the few vehicles that hold value is pickups, believe it or not. I don't know why pickups hold value more than any other car. I never understood that, but they hold a little more value. Just FYI for anybody out there.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely I can see that. I mean, I think you still have I think there's still a relatively small segment of the market, and I think a lot of those guys are. And to his point, they are useful. So I think you're always going to spend that. And again, if you can save 30-40% off, and if if it's just going to be beating up, right? You're hauling like major stuff and whatnot, and you're not trying to keep it like showroom new. Toyota, they're definitely very high in resale value and quality. Absolutely. And I think Lexus is Toyota, right?
Yes.
Okay, so Lexus, Toyota, they've always kind of been. Lexus is basically a glorified Toyota. They use the same. They use the same powertrain, I think.
Yeah, so you buying everything exactly the same. You're just paying extra for the fucking name. And now, if you're buying a part for the Alexa, you're paying a little extra money. Same thing with Lincoln.
Right.
Lincoln's a Ford. Right. You're just paying a little extra. So I don't have an issue with that because, like, for example, BMWs and Mercedes. BMW and Mercedes are high luxury cars here in America. Not in Greece. In Greece,
not in Europe either. Like they're like taxi cabs, right?
Yeah, normal everyday car. They're like a Hyundai. Or a Honda or a Ford or whatever you want to fucking call it. It's an everyday working man's vehicle. There's nothing fancy about them down there. You still get the bells, so that's because you wanted the bell whistles. Like my current car, after my accident, I paid a little extra because I wanted the bells and whistles. Didn't need it. It makes my life a little more comfortable when I'm driving 45 minutes. It's you got your CarPlay. You have your ass warmed up with a heating seat. Dude, listen to me. If you want to fuck with somebody, turn the heating seat on and like all of a sudden like, why is my ass so fucking warm? I'm like, yeah, motherfucker, I got you. That's why. It's a little prank I use upon everybody. Just FYI. But anyway, the AC controls on certain panels, but I didn't get the full package either. I got the lower one because everything in the full package is usually for people in the back seat. Like, I don't give a fuck about these motherfuckers. I care about me. I'm the driver. I'm the most important person in the car. But the point is, like, what are you going to use value into it? And me, with my vehicle, at least, I spend at least a good amount of time on my vehicle. At least about, let's say, 2 hours a day. Driving to work and back. That's a good amount of time. You spend a lot of time in your vehicle too, right, Paul?
Yeah, especially now, absolutely.
Yeah,
so I mean it's mostly highway miles. It's up and down the turnpike, but yeah, definitely.
But you want to be comfortable at the end of the day, as much as possible. If he's hitting C's or whatever the case is, makes you.
I don't want to be too comfortable. Some of these cars is like, you need it. Now they got the cars with the auto pods. Like if they catch a snapping or whatever, it kind of wakes you up or takes over or something like that. So I don't want to be too comfortable. I just want to get to and from in one piece. So a lot of that stuff.
I did pay a little extra as a safety features because I really wanted those. If something jumps out at me, and I finally hit the brakes fast enough, it got me on that one. But I don't rely on it either. But those are nice little extra features. But listen, dude, if my car can drive me to work and I don't have to worry about it, sign me up. I don't have to. I take a nap as I'm driving to work. An hour nap there, an hour back. I'm straight. You would do too. You know that.
Yeah. No doubt.
We're going that way, bro. We're going.
There you go. Right. The digital safety features. Yeah. But even then, the deal is they try to get you on the other end also. Like they get you buy some what you would save in insurance. You're paying extras for. Like they used to do stuff like window etching and all that kind of stuff. They said you would save money on and whatnot, and that was a scam also. They would spend you spend an extra $600 for window etching, thinking that okay, well if someone steals your car or whatever, then they can identify the parts and all that. And that was BS also. I mean, it's like so the dealers, so everybody tried to get a cut. So it's like, someone else. And now I see more people avoiding the deal altogether and going to the second hand. So Facebook Marketplace, I've known several people who bought cars through Marketplace and other apps, Craigslist. People have bought cars or whatnot and whatnot. So again, going to the dealers, I tell you, I've been screwed over by dealers on more than one occasion with stuff. So again, their thing is selling in volume. And they could be shiesty. So I would rather look at a car. I got a mechanic who they do like a full 200-point check inspection on the thing, whatever. They'll tell you what it needs and they'll tell you what it doesn't need. So it's like, okay, if this guy's good to go, a couple tweaks here and there, you're good to go. A lot of times I'd rather trust that rather than going to a dealer and the dealer's going to again try to sell me all this extra stuff. You need this, you need that, you need what if this happens? Do you have gap insurance? Do you have this and that or whatever? I'm like, so I'm definitely gotten a bit more frugal when it comes, especially to some of those high-end purchases. When I know if all they're trying to sell me is just additional window dressing, but to your earlier point, it's not necessarily adding value to me, but I'm bleeding hundreds, if not thousands of dollars extra for stuff that I don't need. In my view, like, do you really need like an automatic? I don't know, maybe, again, fit guy, sorry. Do you really need the back of your car to automatically open and close? Do you really need that?
No.
I don't know.
Actually, I haven't. I realize it's more of a waste of money than anything.
I mean, no, Boss Man's saying yes.
I know why Boss
Man. You need that automatic. Just close my back of my... I get it. You got kids in your arm and all that. That I get. If you got kids and, you're trying to get stuff and bags and stuff, but...
He's only 3'2".
Oh, stop.
Yeah, he's only 3'2". He wants all the buttons.
He wants all the buttons.
Push the button. 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 You're like, no, I have it. It's like it's nice.
They're gonna get rid of all the buttons. Everything's gonna be voice activated. Turn my car on, turn it off, close the door, lock the door, set the alarm. It'll just be all voice at one point.
Like like my little fucking big bitch Alexa here, and like she doesn't want to listen to me half the fucking times. She's moody. I'm gonna tie her wires one day. I promise you that. But it is useful. Don't get me wrong. If you're walking up to the car and hit the button, yeah, it opens. Again, that's another good one. The GPS. I don't know about you guys, but I use my GPS. I actually use my GPS when I'm going to work if I don't need it, just to see traffic report. To be honest with you, it tells you if there's an accident.
Well, I use my phone. I mean, they got with the Apple Play and with the Google Play and whatnot. Why do you need to buy GPS in the vehicle? What I mean, is it going to give you
Google like you do? I use the CarPlay, but I keep it on just to see traffic reports, to be honest with you. Because you never know there's an accident. You don't want to be late for work. Money's money. Let's switch to
Black Man's dropping out now. Black Man, didn't you used to sell cars at some point? I thought Black Man was in car sales at one point. I could be wrong about that, but he's saying gap insurance is needed for every finance vehicle. So yeah, if you get into a wreck for sure. But I certainly see that. But I know he might have some experience in that.
You should have gap insurance no matter what, and it's one of the best things you can have. Just God forbid, a lot of times it's not you as a driver, is the other person who's usually on their fucking phones. That's why I think they should make it mandatory to have CarPlay in all the cars. Like I know with my phone, I don't know about yours. It also detects your driving, so it won't let you text. You have to go through the Apple Play, no matter what. So some features will get disabled once you're behind the wheel. I don't know if it's a Hyundai thing because it picks up into my car or whatever the case is, but I do like that feature, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? Less accidents are going to be on the road if you can be on your phone. Let's be honest here.
Yeah.
But let's switch gears for a little bit here.
Yeah.
You used to be a gamer like myself, right?
A classic gamer.
Yeah,
I'm like I said, I'm locked in. I'm locked in time. Like I said, the 80s was like for me the golden age of gaming. When you went to the arcade, you put your 25 cents or 50 cents in, and so in fact, I saw today as they had an Atari setup, like so it had all the Atari 2600 games, all the Atari 5200 games, all the Atari 7800 games, and the Atari arcade games in one little thing for $69. I'm like, this is golden for me. Like I love those old school pinups, Time Cop, Time Pilot, Shinobi, Galaga. I'm an old school gamer. Okay, all the new stuff, Call of Duty and Halo and all that, I don't have time for it, honestly. I didn't buy it yet. I'm thinking about it. But just what I need is another distraction.
Hear me out. Those systems made to last. That's my point. That's the only reason I asked. Like the Atari, how long did you had it for, you think?
Well, it might have been a little bit different back then. I will say this. The level of graphics. So you understand, I mean, you talk about going from 4-bit to 8-bit to 16-bit was like evolution. And I think what's happened over the years is that the evolution has gone down significantly over time. So, yeah, so when the 5200 dropped, I wanted one, and I actually got one. And then, by the time I got to you had like Sega Genesis, and you had, I forget what the other system was that was competing at the time. It was such a level up in gameplay and whatnot that it was hard to justify not getting one. But, once you got to the point where these games became so loved, once you got past 32-bit and 64-bit and beyond, it almost became like, am I really getting a lot more juice out the squeeze? I mean, yeah, it's like now they're making these like Madden Football 2024. It's like you can see the sweat on the player as he's making his play. Do I need all of that at this point? So that I'm a little on. But back then there was such a technological. It was like a rocket ship that just took off, and you were just seeing stuff that You
So
just didn't.
technically,
So it was.
I know
Yeah,
it's off topic a little bit. You probably can play all these games on your PC because you probably have a powerful PC like myself.
exactly.
One.
Oh, I get. Yeah.
Hey, the reason I asked that question, the Nintendo, the Segas, the Atari's, they're meant to last. I know people who had their original. Let me rephrase that. Their original Nintendo, their original Sega, their original Atari. I'm not sure which one. Uh, excuse me. So they're meant to fucking last. They're gonna probably outdate our pain. That's how good they are. No offense, our pain, if you listen to this. Um,
Only the only caveat I would put on that is the console. Yes, the cartridges. No, cartridges would get jacked up, and you really had because again, like you physically had to like, especially for the Atari and all that, you had to literally like snap it in, and you pulled it out. Like when it went in there, it was like snug. So that constant taking in and taking out, like they would wear down over time depending on how much you used it. So I think that bless you. I think but the consoles and the controllers were awful, and that's the thing too. I mean, you had to, especially the 5200, probably had the worst controllers ever. So people were getting third party controllers for the 5200 because that's how bad they were back then. But yeah, I mean certainly the main CPU of the thing. Yeah, the even the Nintendo NES, when you put the cartridge in and you put it down again, it would do that chunka as you put it in. That would get loose as you again, the more you put it in and pause it, like it would push it down, it wouldn't stay down because it was like a spring loaded thing that snapped it in and let it go.
some Nintendo games I bought over the years, they still survive. And it depends which one it is. Like I had no issue any second or third hand Nintendo games I bought. Same thing
But did you
with
use cartridges? Which by the time you were using cartridges or like CDs at that point? Because
no,
I'm thinking you were like Gamecast and whatnot, so they'd be using CDs by then.
no, I was playing what the first system I ever owned was. You ready for this? I'm gonna show you my age now. For once, you're gonna feel young. Ready? That Nintendo
Okay.
Entertainment System was my first system I ever owned. It was obsolete towards when I was coming into gaming, but Mario was the thing. Super Mario Bros. 3 was the it thing. So that's all I cared about as a kid. My mom didn't know anything. She bought me whatever. She found it at a good price. She goes, oh, it's on sale for so much dollars. It's cheaper than the other one. Let's buy her this instead. And then the Super Nintendo came out. I'm like, I want that. You got tough luck, kid. But whatever. I still have some. I have my 64 in my closet. It runs to this day. I have a Game Boy.
And you know what also lost it for a while? The Nintendo. Oh, jeez, what's the one with the controllers that you move? Around, the Wii.
Paul, take over.
That lasted my kid's childhood. You know what I'm saying? Like it lasted when we bought the first one probably in 2004, and I still have it. So it's like when we get like the young kids over, like they want to do like the Michael Jackson dance game or whatever. When the little kids come over, we still use the Wii. And for the longest time, they never even came out with a new one. Everyone was expecting them to come out with a new version of it. But that gaming console was like 10 years, and there was no reason to upgrade it. I guess because especially for kids, it was fine. I mean, you didn't think that okay, you got a PlayStation 4 now, I got to get the PS5. It's like why? I mean, it just didn't serve that purpose.
Now the game that's how the games are. But hang on, does everybody in the chat is ready to feel old? So old. What I'm gonna bring up now, you're gonna go, I fucking remember that. Definitely BMU. This is your type of game. That's how old I'm going back. Anybody remembers this? Anybody? Yep. Boss man is going. I mean, Boss man is going ape shit right now.
And it still works.
Absolutely, yeah.
It still works. Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
And I don't.
Now, how do you connect it? It doesn't have HD on it, so it has RGB. To your TV. So
to convert this for like 50, 60 bucks, and it will work. I don't want to do that because I like the classic. You can buy DMHI to something I don't remember what it's called for 20 to 30 bucks from Best Buy or Amazon or even Walmart. and it's works perfectly fine. The only thing, because your eyes, it depends on your eyesight. It might, after a while, because the way the graphics show up might hurt your eyes a little bit, because these TVs are not meant to push these kind of graphics out. They're meant to push out the newer graphics, the PlayStation and stuff like that. But this is I like plugging this in once in a while, playing Ocarina of Time or Mario 64 or Smash Brothers. Yo, I don't care about the new Smash Brothers. This is this real. You want to be a fucking player? Play Smash Brothers on this fucker. Then come talk to me. You're a gamer. When you play one of these with a controller, like a fucking something like, I know Mario has sex with a controller on crack, and that's a controller to me. They hurt your fingers. GameCube, another good one. They were good, but they meant to last. I give it a great except, really.
No, I agree with that, but my thing is the change. It's almost like the phones now, right? We talked about, was there a major change between the iPhone 6 and the 10 and the yes. But 13, 14, 15 is the juice worth the squeeze? Like, are you getting so much more gameplay out of a PS4 than a PS5 versus in my time when I had an Atari 2600 and going to like a 5200 and then going to a Genesis? To me, looked like evolutionary changes, not just incremental changes. That was my point that I was saying earlier.
Here's my issue with what you're saying. It's not an issue. It's just the value. All right, this is why we're talking about this conversation. It's more about the value. And I think Boss Man and BMU are going to back me up on this one. So how much do you actually play?
I tried. I tried. They're sold on it. So
it's not your thing. So if you
PS5 made me quit Xbox.
PlayStation is better in every shape, way, or form. I'm not gonna argue. For once, BMU, me and you are on the same side, brother. Like we, I'm gonna say you're right for once. Remember, today is what 12/8. Just remember that for once. And that happens often. Just keep that in mind. But anyway, PlayStation. Like, how much do you actually play? A great example, a kid I know, he went and bought a PlayStation 4. I go, why did you buy a PlayStation 4? Give it a few months. The PS5's coming out, dumbass. I went to him. He goes, they were about to announce there wasn't even out. This is before COVID and everything. He goes, I really want to play Call of Duty. He literally turned his PlayStation once. What's the point of that? You lose no value into that. Now, with me, I do play more occasionally than you think. I'll probably turn my PlayStation on 3-4 times a week, play for an hour, do a little Call of Duty, fuck some people up, and move on with my day. And that's fine. I get the value out of it. Or you, like yourself, you said you tried it, you didn't like it. You don't have the value.
I didn't say I didn't like it.
Okay.
My thing was, again, was it worth the upgrades? That's what I'm saying. Like, for me, I'm very simple. I like to shoot things up, Again, space games, Space Invader game. In fact, the main game I play now is actually on my phone, and it's basically like a Galaga style game where you basically you soup up your ship, you make it more powerful, you go into competing against other people and things of that nature and whatnot. That's enough for me. I like a sports game. I like a baseball game where I like to hit home runs. I like spades online. Games like card games. I'm very simple in that regard. I don't need to have like the latest and the greatest when it comes to any kind of tech, unless it's something that I think, like I said, was groundbreaking and that then it would be productive to my life. But to say that, and again, I love when Call of Duty came out, I used to hang out in the Best Buy or the electronics store, and I would play a couple. They had it where you could play a couple rounds, and it was fun. The other thing though was, this will be a major time killer for me. You understand? I mean, certainly, when you 3 kids, you got a career, you got stuff going on. I didn't want my time so sucked up by playing video games for hours. For me, taking a 10-minute break, 15-minute break, play a couple rounds or something where you can just leave it and then come back to it That's enough. When I was young, when the NES came out and then the Genesis came out, there were games where you would play for hours. I would be at Eric's house. Me and Eric, because he got all these systems. We'd be at his place for hours playing these games. And again, it's great when you're in high school or you're in college in the summer. You don't have anything going on, but when you got major things going on, and I'm just like, I can't invest the time. And I
There's
know for
time.
me, I can get hooked into things very easily. That's why I didn't. That's why I never played golf. Okay, like I never. People are like, yeah, come play golf. The reason I didn't go is because it's probably something that I can get highly addicted to. I don't know if I have an addictive personality, but if I really get into something, I really get into it. And and I was like, I can't commit to this because I got too much stuff going
Your
on.
values are a little
Where
different
I
than
couldn't
mine.
do
I know
it. Mm.
people, Q and King, great example. BMU, Boss Man, I'll give those guys examples. They are fathers and they find time to play. And that's okay. Your values and theirs are different. I'm not saying you have to play. Now
I
that
got you.
you're free time, hopefully you can play a couple of matches. We should literally have the networks next. You know what? Both networks need to start a clan. I'm calling
A
it.
gaming group.
Yeah, I am dead serious. We should start a clan. Uh,
Wow.
it's
Yeah,
literally, and he's
I'm
right.
sure those guys.
He's right. This is right. This is a great example because The Last of Us was a game of the year, and they made a show of it. The show was incredible, good. But again, the
Mhm.
value. This is why we're having this conversation about products again. Is you're getting like, okay, the phones. How long do they last? Like I saw
Really, as
literally.
long as the battery. I get everything I need out of my
I need
The only reason I'm thinking about replacing it is because the battery life, it doesn't last me as long, and I know it's very expensive. From what I understand, I grew up in a time where you could replace your own battery. Order a battery, take the back off, put your new battery in, and just keep on your way. Now they got everything sealed up, and it's going to cost you like hundreds of dollars to get a new iPhone battery. Outside of that, it provides 95% of what I need right now. Do I really need to go and upgrade to a 16 or whatever they come out with, the next latest and greatest phone at this point? Like I said, in earlier phones, yes, there was a reason or justification for doing it. But I mean, I take all my videos through there. I do my Instagram streaming. Put my effects on there. My social media. Like, what else do I need? That a new phone's going to maybe a bit more storage, because obviously once you start taking videos, you storage. So yeah, maybe get a phone with maybe 256 or 512 gigabytes of storage or something. Like maybe a bit more storage space. But really, I don't know what new feature in the iPhone or any phone, Android or whatever, is going to give me something that's like, oh, I gotta have that. Like I said, unless it's essential to my job, I'm good for now. I like not having a monthly bill, and I got one more payment to pay on my wife's phone, and we're done with that one. So I'm just paying for the services. I got these phones that work perfectly fine, and I just don't feel the need to upgrade at this point.
I agree with you that. That's what. But here's a little bit of what I'm going to push back on that. I think the phone lasts as good as the software keeps updating too. If you're not getting
Mm-hmm.
updates, and I was having this conversation with somebody today. We were watching actually, and another YouTuber. He has a series because when phones were fun, and we were talking about when phones were actually fun. When you bought a new phone, and that matter you bought one every year or every 2 years, or every 3 years, the upgrade from phone to phone to phone to phone to phone was major upgrades. Like example, you have better camera. Not like these cameras, like they're better, but not much difference. Like I
Mm-hmm.
remember
Yeah.
when the Note came out, you had a stylus. Then a couple years later, the Note, it was a remote control for your cameras, and you could do
Mm-hmm.
things with it. Then it was the Face ID. They came out with it first. The fingerprint, all that stuff. Samsung came out with everything first. I give them credit do. And then the Apple thing, and Apple has their own stuff that came out with, like, FaceTime, and obviously Google, Samsung and Google had their own version of everything, obviously, and iMessage and all this stuff. When you bought a new phone, I think the last, what was it? Up to, I would say, in iPhone world up to the 10, I think it was, you saw major differences. Then same thing with Samsung. I think up to the 9 or 10,
Yeah, that's
you didn't
true.
see major differences. I'm sorry.
Yeah, what he's saying about the phones again, like you said, they'll say this new update to the iOS does not support phones at this level and below, and
Yeah.
so. But again, I'll stay where I'm at then until I found something that was where it was worth upgrading. Now, one thing I did want to go back. You talked about cameras earlier. Were you a camera guy growing up? Like, were you like when I mean by camera, I mean like photography, like the Nikon or the big telephoto lens. Are you like were you into that? Did you own like a $1,500 Nikon or what's
My
that?
mother spent about 800. What was it? Altogether, her whole setup. I mean, tripod, camera, batteries,
Yeah, you
flash.
own like a Nikon, a Minolta, a
Those are
Hasselblad. I mean, like that kind of camera. I'm saying, do you think that the era of that is coming to an end with these,
no.
whether it be a Google phone, an Android phone, or whatever? That again, what
I tell you
guys
what.
used to pay for those big, and they were heavy. I mean, like a Nikon or Hasselblad case, it's like 10 pounds. And then if you get that super telephoto lens on it or whatever, that's another 10 pounds on that. So it's like you got to to hold it to take certain shots, unless you're a true photography head, if it's for your profession or whatever. But what you see people creating with their smartphones is such where you really have to ask, like, and do you see, like, I remember like growing up, how many camera ads do you see on TV? When I was growing up, again, 80s, 90s, 2000s, you had Canon and Minolta and Nikon and all these. You don't see those ads on TV anymore. Like during football season, like every other ad was a camera ad. You don't even see them anymore. So it's almost like it's for the person who really takes photography to that level, and they even miss the nostalgia of owning the old stuff. And you're gonna spend again $15,000, $2,000, $4,000 for like a real camera hookup. But if 90% is what you can do with your phone and more, and that's increasing, like the gap is certainly closed where people are making movies with their iPhones.
Comic Con. How many people had their phones and they were using that as recorders in our
Yeah,
press conference? Okay, so here's
absolutely.
the perspective. This where we're saying now. So yes, cameras are dying out, but not 100%. Now we're on YouTube. We're streaming. I'm using Elgato camera. I'm not sure what you're using.
Mhm.
Some people will use their iPhone as cameras or whatever, but a lot of people will spend buy the old school cameras you're talking about, and it is a plug-in. You can use that as digital. So a lot of big YouTubers are using the old school cameras because they have one hanging on the
Right.
ceiling and they're zooming. They have one facing this one. They have 4 or 5 of them all the time. So their setup, just cameras alone, they're over 10,000 cameras. So you have to keep
Yeah.
that in mind. Cameras are not dying out. They're just repurposed differently now. And all of them are
Right.
digital. Now you don't find the film more anymore. And like film, I think is like obsolete. I'm not mistaken. There's still, print film, but you have to find a store, and it's really hard to find a store of print film.
Mhm. Yeah, but I think print film is almost like the guys who like still like vinyl records versus digital. You know what I mean? I think there'll be a niche market for that. Who people who still like seeing photos on print film, and that they specialize in print film. So I think that, but again, it's not the massive. I mean, and I've been to Rochester, New York, which was a major. It was a company town for Kodak, and this was like maybe in the mid 2000s, and you could tell it was like a ghost town because again, back then you had those big companies that supported the whole town, and when that dried up, you saw the economic effects on the town of Rochester because of that. I mean, so I certainly get that. Again, you have certain niches, but those cameras were marketed to the mainstream. You know what I mean? If you really want to be a photographer or even play, like just get into photography, again, Minolta, Canon, and whatnot. Hasselblad was like the highest end. That was like if you were a professional. You know what I mean? Hasselblad. But now again, I don't even see those ads anymore. So again, unless you're like a true camera head, that's the only time you're gonna spend that money on that thing. Now, look, I just bought a GoPro or GoPro like similar because again, I'm gonna be on vacation. I don't want to. I want my phone in the water. I might be under swimming with the stingrays or whatever. So I got to go like a totally immersed
Was he
GoPro.
approved for his vacation time?
I'm going. So just write me up. It'll reflect on my review. Okay, so that's fine, but I'll take the risk. But in any event, but I got one for the water because I don't want to be going down the water slide or whatnot into the water and jacking up my my iPhone or whatever, no matter what protective case it's in. So again, it was like $70. I got an arm that I put on there that that holds in my hand. In fact, the arm actually doubles as a flotation device. So literally, I can open it up and it'll float in the water. So I can be in the water. My camera's there. I could be underwater and taking pictures of myself underwater and stuff like that. So, but again, I got it for $70. I didn't spend $500 for a camera.
I think.
And again, how often am I gonna use it? That's the thing too. If I'm a professional, I'm taking hundreds of photos a day. Yeah, then it would make sense that I want to get something like that. But if you're only talking about on occasion getting that stuff, I don't see spending $1,500 for a camera. I just couldn't do it.
Went a little overboard with this. I'm not going to deny it. I went very, very overboard with this because eventually me and you, we already spoke about this. We're going to be doing things outside our studios, like on the field. So I want to be prepared when time comes to have something. So even when we met at the gym, I had my GoPro. So I realized really fast I need to add a couple more attachments to it. That's why I got the audio mod, and the mics and everything. Should I spend the money for that? And would it have been worth it? Absolutely not. I'll be honest with you guys. It's not worth it. Mm-hmm. If you're not going to use it on a daily basis, like I know, example, CQ, for example, he uses his stuff at least once or twice a month. For him, it was worth it. But right. I am ready when the time comes. On steroids, but that's a good thing about it. Anyway, you guys got me right. But my point is trying to get to is you could get good, action camera for less price. The reason I went with this one, to be honest with you, is very simple. I know it's going to survive anything. Is right. Going to turn on, turn off, and there are better ones out there, and they're more expensive and they're more cheap ones. How much money you spend on? That's all it is. I'm like, okay, I'm going to switch a little gears again for a minute. This is Boss Man's and Lost favorite conversation to have. Mac versus PCs. Which one is better? Which one is a value? I know Boss Man is a Mac person. Diehard, loves Macs, and he goes crazy for them. See, he just said it. Oh my God, he's obsessed with Macs, and there's nothing wrong with that. And Lost is a Mac fan too. But my point is it the $3,000-$4,000 tag? Is it worth it? Mm-hmm. Personally, I don't think so. Go ahead, Paul. What do you think?
It depends on what you're. I know a guy. He did some AV at my church recently, and he spent like for a cord. It's got multiple cords built. He got it from B&H Photo. Multiple cords. It was like over $9,000 that he spent on his. But again, it serves a professional purpose. So as long as all of that is factored into what he'll get back from it, if he thinks the productivity he gets from it is going to be worth it, and he's not replacing it in 2 or 3 years, hopefully he'll get maybe 5 years out of it, depending on what the state of technology is. I can dig it. I mean, so if you to me, the conversation varies greatly if you're talking about, are you talking about a business purpose or productivity purpose versus personal use? I think if you only talk about personal use for entertainment purposes, I don't think you have to go all out on technology like that. But if you're talking about possibly turning this into, in fact, if you do have a business, look, you're going to write it off, right? It's going to be a business expense for you that you write off your taxes when you file. So I don't have a problem with people investing in their business, especially if they think it's going to help them to to succeed and advance in that. So again, it's an ROI thing with me, but personal use. I think a lot of people overspend on items that, like I said, that's why I didn't go crazy on this camera. It was highly rated and reviewed, reasonably priced. I didn't have to break the bank on it, and I may use this camera maybe once or twice a year, depends on what my next excursion is somewhere. So I was like, you know what? It's not, why spend $200, $300, $400 on a GoPro when I can get like something that's very similar, does everything that a GoPro does for less. Like I said, go back to the TV I bought. Why spend $1,500, $2,000 on a 70-inch LG or whatever it is, the latest and greatest is. Whereas this TV that I'm getting, it's still better than this TV. So I had a 55-inch Hisense. Again, bought it at the time. It was cheap when I bought it, but I spent less money on this 70-inch Japanese no-name TV set than I did when I bought the Hisense TV 10 years ago. So the other thing with me is, when you're at a certain level, anything that's an upgrade above that, from a perception point of view, you're still ahead. But why spend 10 times as much for a TV that even still, and I don't even watch it every day. It's in our bedroom. It's like, it's there, but I don't even spend a lot of time in bed watching TV. It's there, it's like, if me and the missus want to snuggle up and watch a movie together, it's nice. It's beautiful and everything. But a Samsung, again, would cost me probably 5 times as much than that $250 70-inch TV that I bought from PC Richard. That's the place I got it from. Again, and it's got the software in it, so I can watch all these different things, all these different channels and everything. It has all that stuff in it, which is an upgrade over the one that I had. I'm good. I can't miss what I haven't seen. So again, sometimes when it comes to especially technology, sometimes ignorance is bliss. You know what I mean? And because it starts to affect your level of habit. And I used to go through that because I used to build PCs back, in my late teens and 20s. I used to love to go to trade shows. I used to love to buy the tower and the hard drive and the CPU and build stuff or whatever. And I'm leaving, and I'm like a week or two later, it seemed like, it's like, oh, they came out with a better processor. Oh, they came out with a better this and whatnot. So it got to a point where I stopped going, because it just got to a point where, what I put all that time and effort in, I was proud of building, was obsolete like a month after I bought it. So I didn't need that letdown or that come down from. So again, whatever I bought, whether it be tech or otherwise, enjoy it for what it is, unless I find a need for it. And that's the opposite word, a need, not a want, or not just to have the latest and greatest. Unless it was that, it wasn't, I just haven't seen the need to put that kind of money out on things, especially like tech, that go obsolete within a certain level of time, a certain period of time. And it seemed like that timeline was getting shorter and shorter. So I left it alone.
So I get what you're saying with that. So, okay, let's tackle one thing at a time here. Let's go the PC thing. I feel my PC is better than Mac, hands down. I don't care what anybody says. They've been proved studies that Mac cannot keep up with PCs, Windows, because there's not a lot of programs out there. I know Lost is going to sit there and go around with me and box me out on that one, and that he has his own opinion on that, and that's fine. I'm not saying Apple's bad. I think it's a great product, but I think Windows has a better one. Now, when it comes to building your PC, sometimes it's not even worth it. Let's be sure. This is my first unit I built. Mm-hmm. Is it worth it? Probably not, maybe. And probably is. I bought it for long-term life, meaning I don't have to buy another fucking computer for a long time. But I'm realizing already, that's not going to be a factor. Except me buying a new computer, I'm going to be buying parts. So you got to lose win kind of thing.
Right.
I love my PC. Do not get me wrong. I think my PC is is best than ever. But I think some products are better than others. Let's go through the TVs for a second. You were talking about Samsung is known to build one of the best TVs out there. The three top brands right now. I don't know if you know this is Sony, Samsung, and LG. Sony, you're gonna pay arm and a leg, but most of their parts comes from Samsung. Samsung is great, but you're not gonna pay $500-600 more like you do with Sony. You're really paying the name with Sony. That's what it comes down to it. Now with LG, you can get both worlds just a little cheaper. So you want to go which one you go? I think Samsung and LG survive on TV wise. Now other products that became questionable because this higher monitor just took a shit on me again. It could be I got a bad batch. It could have been a really bad batch because I know Bossman has the exact same monitor and he loves his. He has no issue with his. So it might be a bad batch, and that's what it was. So again, that's a good point. Like I give you specs. Let's talk about specs for a second. Apple versus Samsung. If you compare the specs, Samsung blows Apple phones out of the water any day of the week. But some of the features they have, some people cannot live without them. Like or AirDrop, for example. That AirDrop is very convenient for some people. The group chats, FaceTime, that's very convenient for some people. And so it's really convenience versus quality.
Right.
Does that make sense?
But how much of that? But how much of that? How much of the success of Apple? How much of that is marketing?
A huge marketing part.
Well, as I was saying, I mean, I think if you look at going back, I remember the Mac ads. I remember the 1984 Apple ad back in the day when home PCs and stuff was kind of dominant, and then you even had Apple. They had their price, but when the Macs came out, they came out with all this, these marketing campaigns. It became a niche. I think that Steve Jobs, he created a culture, and almost like a cult-like following. I think to an extent, in terms of the pitch man. He was the salesman. I mean, Steve Wozniak was the brains behind Apple, but Jobs was the P.T. Barnum. He sold it. In a certain way that created a niche, even when they didn't own a major portion of the market back then, because PCs were dominant. And I used Macs in college. In fact, Rutgers was one of the first major universities that had an Apple base. So SCSI and Netcare and all those early networks that Apple had back then. I mean, Rutgers was a major part of that, but they had PCs, they had Unix systems and some microsystems and things of that nature. So it was a major spot, but it developed such a loyal following. And then when he came back, then I think he became more market centric and looked at what the people wanted more so than just creating something that looked niche for So like his first iteration was like, I just want to make cool stuff and people think owning an Apple is cool. Whereas I think he started paying more attention to what the market was. Like he said, like I'm people don't know what they want. I'm gonna show them what they want. So when he came out with the revamped Macs and he came out with the iPhone and the MP3 players and stuff like that, I think he he created another sort of revolution at that point. But I think a lot of it is again how he sold it.
So Steve Jobs was not a scientist. He did not know how to build computers. He did not know tech. He came up with an idea. You go figure it out, pretty much. So
yeah, Steve Wozniak, he was the brains behind everything. He was a nerd. I mean, Steve Jobs. I mean, Wozniak. All he wanted to do was just build. He just went to Radio Shack and got some motherboards, and he's just like soldering stuff together. That was just what he liked to do.
So, Steve Jobs was a great salesman. When he came up with an idea, make it happen. He used to tell him. Don't know how, just make it happen. And that's what happened. So with the Apple, when he came back, he had to restart from scratch. That's where he came up with the idea with the iPod. and then the iPhone, then the Macs, and the Macs were out for a while actually. But you get where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
Steve Jobs was not a scientist. He was not a tech guy. He was a salesman. There's nothing wrong with that. Now this bozo, who's running. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he was a pitch man. I mean, that was the thing. He was like P.T. Barnum. In a lot of ways, almost like Vince McMahon. It's in terms of what that was his thing.
Except the sex scandal part, but he was a dictator.
Obviously.
Yeah, he used to scream at his employees, throw fits, throw shit against the wall at times. They made 2 movies about his job, Jobs and Steve Jobs, and one of them shows him a very nasty person. At some point, he wasn't even showering. He was a hippie, really. And then, whatever. That's not even the point. Now, this bozo who's running the company, I can't remember his name. Thank God, actually.
The CEO now, yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember who's. Actually, I'm gonna look it up for you guys. I think he's a idiot. To be honest with you, because he knows a little more about Tim Cook. Tim Cook knows a little more about tech than Steve Jobs does. Right. But he's going in the wrong direction about this stuff. That's why Apple is stocks as low as it have ever been in a while. I think we're going to see a transition very, very soon. Now you have Apple's lawsuit, all right? And this is, again, the value. We're going back to this again. The value of the product. You have Tim Cook, who's dunking the company straight down nosedive. And you don't have another Steve Jobs to save it. And if you find somebody, I like to see it. I think a lot of people are going to be converting to 2 ways now. Going to Androids, probably Samsung or Pixels. And they have been showing it. Pixels are very, very similar to Apple. So a lot of people will be able to pick it up and go, oh, this is actually very familiar to me. Versus the Samsung, like, I know about this. And like, that's why a lot of people don't like Samsung. They feel it's a little more difficult. To me, they're both the same. But again, I'm a tech guy. So I am an exception. Same to you. You're an exception. Being me, all of us who do streaming stuff are exceptions to our rule. Average Joe. Your I can't say your wife because your wife's a tech person too. Your daughter's from
she's not. Yeah.
She's not?
She's not.
So she's on IT. That's why I thought I said that.
No, total neophytes when it comes to tech and IT.
Going to Pixel for her would be very comfortable and very easy, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's why I recommend people keep an eye out what's going on because a lot of things are going to change very soon. I know people are going to be pushed. Oh, Apple's not going anywhere. Just watch because this lawsuit can change a lot of things. Like what happened in Europe. Apple was not going to put the USB-C. I don't care how much you're arguing. If it wasn't that lawsuit there were over their heads, and the other part, if they didn't put the USB-C in, the UN was going to pull all their phones off the market. And Apple could not afford that. They just broke the market a little bit. They've been struggling to get into Europe. They've been really struggling. A lot of Europe people do not want to get Apple because they want the freedom with their phones. And you don't have them. Now you have a little more freedom. But back in the day, you got what you got, and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Sure. But let me just, I guess, bring the combo back to just consumption. What are your things I guess you're most frugal with? So I know you know, in occasion, especially when it comes to tech stuff, you haven't spent a lot of money. But what about like clothes or food or what have you? Like, are there certain areas that you are much more frugal in and much more disciplined with the monies, or is it just mostly tech for you where you find your expenditure? Is there any area that you're a lot more, you'll take? Because I'll buy and they know that depending on what you read, they say you shouldn't buy them, but like I'll buy like generic like canned vegetables and stuff. Like I don't necessarily buy like Del Monte or whatever. Walmart has them, or if my local supermarket, whatever their store brand is, I have no problem buying store brand merchandise. And what also, if you want to understand, a lot of the brands that we buy, you can have like a high end brand and a low end brand, and it's like they're all owned by the same company. You know what I mean? So it's almost like like tires, for example. You got like maybe like 4 or 5 tire manufacturers that own like 20 different tire brands, and a lot of people, they want the Pirellis or they want the Firestones or whatever. But if you bought these no name brand, it's like, oh, they're made by the same company. Is the quality as good? No, but is it good enough where you're going to save hundreds of dollars rather than paying $200 per tire? You'll spend maybe 120 per tire. Is it going to get you what you need? Or is it like, look, I got to be about the, the brand. So just talk about that a little bit. So what are you most frugal about? And in your mind, outside of tech, because I think we covered quite a bit of that, what brands in your mind matter?
Clothes doesn't matter shit for me, to be straight up with you, because I can buy, last year or 3 years model. I can buy something. You saw me at Comic-Con, bro. I was looking around. I always buy a couple shirts from Comic-Con. I bought you one. You remember? So I shopped around for a while. Like, no, that's too expensive. No, that's not expensive. Oh, wherever I place, that's why I grabbed them, felt the material, and they're looking at me like I'm crazy. Like, they give me a good price. Like, how much? I'm gonna buy a bunch. Give me a good price, bro. And he goes like cash. So I went back and forth with him a little bit, and he gave me a decent price. I think I got what for 7-8 shirts. I think I paid $60. That's not a bad price for a few shirts. You know what I'm saying? And I said cash. He goes, listen, if I walk away, you have to take this shit home with you at the end of the day. And when I said that to him, I'm like, all right, let's make a deal. And like, now I had them. You know what I'm saying? And like, same thing with our lifesavers. And like, I know that's like weird itch thing. You can't really go in, but $300 for a lifesaver is a deal from Vader's Vault
compared to a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Versus other ones like Saber. What is it called?
Saber Forge.
Saber Theory. His are like $8 to $1,000.
Yeah, his is up there, especially for like the movie ones, the replicas. Yeah.
That's what I'm about to say. He has a replica with a crack open, cryo crystal part. That's a whole different itch. Now, things I spend a little extra money on, believe it or not, is food. I like spending. I will like get my meats from BJ's, who I know they do have better, because you're paying the membership. They have better quality meat versus, let's say, I go to Weiss or ShopRite. Even ShopRite, I don't think ShopRite has good meat like they used to. I think they're overpriced when it comes to food meats. The only place I buy. Now,
shout out to Milani, who's really an old soul. I mean, I for one to say she's a young lady, but she's like in her 50s in terms of her how she goes about things. She's very so she I know you live where you're at. I know there's like farming. At least when I was driving up there, there's like a lot of farming stuff. So do you buy or have you bought from local butchers or farmers markets and things of that nature to get stuff?
It's not a lot up here. It's one, and he's truthfully for me. So it's a guy called Coron Butcher. He goes down to New York, down Queens Corona, to bring everything up here. So now it's more expensive for me like that. So they do have a lot of farms up here, but here's the catch with the farms: you are bringing livestock home to you. I don't know if you remember, I live in an apartment, so I have nowhere to kill this fucking thing, and I'm not doing that. I don't know how to skin a cow. Yeah. I don't know how to kill a cow. I may be calling BMU and like, yo, you want to take a trip to PA? Help me kill
but there are farmers. They will take, if you want to buy like half a cow, they'll chop it up. They'll make steaks and ground beef, and so some people do buy the cow, buy a half a cow, whatever. People do that, and they get the big freezer and they store everything.
Yeah, I have a freezer. I'll fucking get this whole fucking thing and put it away. I have meat for a whole year at that point. Get some,
Yeah, some people I know who've done that.
Yeah, and you got a bunch of meat, and I'm cool with that. Again, you have to know where you're looking for it, and I haven't found the price tag will be worth it for me right now for what I eat. You know what I'm saying? Chickens, same thing. Lamb, again, same thing. And that's why I go to BJ's. At least I know I go to BJ's. I know I'm getting better meat than somewhere else. Again.
Now let me ask you this, especially since you're in the food industry, how much do you put on organic versus
zero,
farm raised or whatever? Yeah,
zero, because organic is bullshit. It's a promotion way to sell you money. Simple. If you think you're getting organic, you should jump off the fucking cliff right now. I'll tell you why. Because
you're gonna take a lot of people. You're gonna take a lot of people off. I'm just saying right now. That's like one of the biggest. That's one of the biggest things.
I'm
called a
gonna.
scan or a comma, whatever. But they're organic. They're like vegans. Like they're very religious about
I'm
their
gonna.
organ.
I'm going to debunk this. I am not talking to you guys as Ghost of Sparta from Might Network or a guest to BMU. I am not talking to you as Pete. I am talking to you as Chef Pete. So as Chef Pete mode for a second. Hang on. Okay, Chef Pete mode is now. I'm here. So Chef Pete. Okay, if the way they scale organic, they still have to process it. That's not organic. They still have by law, you have to spray chemicals on them. You have to give them steroids by law. So how is that organic? Organic is when you actually take the animal, pop it, and then butcher yourself. You raised it yourself. That is organic. Organic is when you're picking something out of the ground yourself from your garden. Again, you can't do that because all these bugs are going to kill your stock. Now you say have a greenhouse. Okay, oh yeah, that's fine then, whatever. But how many people have a greenhouse? All this stuff is not. Even this water, this is not organic. If you're not drinking,
Oh no, that's straight at the tap, man.
This in my hand.
That's from the Great Springs of from Maine or whatever. Yeah, a lot of that stuff is not even from fresh springs and all that kind of stuff. That's all marketing as well. Poland Springs, yeah, that's definitely there's some marketing. But the thing, this goes back to the source of the conversation about products, right? How much of this stuff is marketing?
Coming to it
when they're talking about, okay, again, you got like Whole Foods and some of these niche places where again you think you're buying a higher quality. Is that really true at the end of the day? I don't know. Now again, I know there's a lot of, and again, if you're vegan, vegetarian, whatever, this doesn't apply to you. But you gotta watch for E. coli though. But that being said, for these stores that are selling a lot of this high end product, is it really worth it to you at the end of the day? Is it going to add more years to your life eating organic, or again, buy the fact that, okay, I buy from this store versus that one I buy from, I don't know if Albertsons is considered high end or not, but for those who are outside, but again, are you really getting a lot more bang for your money buying from those stores versus, like was said earlier, from the local butcher, from the farmer, or from just your local store? How much more value are you getting? Yeah.
So I'll tell you this. When I grew up in Greece, when you're biting into a meat, I can taste the difference. What? Okay, I'll give you a better example. Alexander, for example, my dog. Sometimes he gets into things. He needs something, chicken and rice. All right, very simple thing to do. But then chicken and rice are the best thing to for dogs and human stomach to help them out. It takes me over 45 minutes to boil that goddamn fucking chicken because all the steroids are in it. That's how I know it's not steroids. Even when it's organic. The chicken, between 30 to 45 minutes should be done completely. Boiled. Now, let's say you have a high power steamer like I do at work. Okay. I will do the same thing.
When a dog does need it, that's how you know.
Actually, that's facts because I had.
Yeah, that nose, man. They can smell. They smell the chemical. They can literally smell the chemicals and stuff. That's why they use them in bombs and all that kind of stuff. They can smell chemicals.
So if it takes you a long time to cook something, you know something wrong. Vegetables, for example, should not take more than 15 minutes to cook. Mariana, if you're just in the chat, please back me up. You're one of my fellow chefs. So this stuff is what I'm talking about. Actually, Bossman, you too. You're a cook. You know what I'm talking about. Back me up here, bro. So if it takes you more than 10 to 15 minutes to cook a vegetable, yeah, it's not there. That is the problem. And I argue this all the time. Oh, top chefs, I know. Like, I call him Zizi. One of the reason he has a long beard like a ZZ Top. Believe it or not. He's one of the best chefs I ever worked with. And he even said it, like, they're not no such thing. Show me where. Go to the factories. Ask them to take a tour. And ask them how many chemicals you spray on them for bugs. How's that organic then? Simple. So funny story about the nose thing you were saying about food. So I tried this restaurant called Big Daddy's up here. Oh boy, I wish I never went there. First of all, they gave me burned broccoli. I looked down like,
Hmm.
okay. I ended up getting barbecue ribs. I didn't like them, so I took them home. I
Hmm.
was on to Hercules, my last dog, who passed away.
Right.
Hercules used to eat everything. He goes, he walked away. I'm like, the fuck? The dog won't even fucking eat this shit. You know how bad it is. Like
Yeah.
when the dog sniffs it, he goes and he blows like "fuck you" kind of thing. You know the dog
Hmm.
won't eat
Yeah.
it. So it's that bad.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
Yeah.
Paul.
But
You were
food is definitely food is definitely a an area where I think a lot of people overpay in my view for food product. I mean,
Are
again,
we
I
talking
mean,
about
how
restaurant
much
now? Or are we talking about
I'm talking about now, just your
go-
local stuff, like you said, getting organic chicken and organic vegetables, or going to, like I said, these high end stores like Whole Foods or whatnot. Again, at the end of the day, are you really getting that much more bang for the buck? I mean, how many more years to your life are you adding by overspending on basic items? Or even like
so
Starbucks. I mean, Starbucks, like, is Starbucks that much better? Now, again, I know I'm going to offend some people here, especially you, because I know you drink a lot of coffee. Is Starbucks that
I
much
love
more
Starbucks.
a superior brand of coffee than like a no name that you would pick up somewhere else?
I'll put it this way: I'll go Wawa first before I go to Starbucks,
Mm,
and I'm saving about $3 a cup. And that because
yeah.
they charge for paper, they charge for everything. We make it custom. Fuck you. Starbucks is just a very overstrong coffee. That's what it is. Nothing crazy.
Mm, yeah.
It's
But back
okay.
in the beginning, people were paying. It
The
was like
trend,
a niche product. It was like you were sophisticated. So
but
McDonald's
cost
coffee, Dunkin' Donuts, your local Wawa,
like
or
really
or
rich
you know
kids.
7-Eleven, like you were too good for that coffee. But Starbucks was like the gold standard of coffee. I mean, is it that is it that
So
much? Folgers.
so
What's
when
Braxton? Braxton's not barely 30 years old. He's drinking Folgers from the 80s.
well, I like I drink
Man, you
I drink
you drink Maxwell House also, Braxton? I'm
um
like Folgers.
house.
I
I drink
mean,
house
Folgers
or
with the crystals.
I drink a espresso. But anyway, what I was gonna go say was back in the day, back in the '90s, if you remember, Starbucks was. I mean, Dunkin' Donuts was the thing. Then 2000, that Starbucks came to thing. Something else will come out soon. Like, oh, this is better than the other thing. There's always something coming around the corner. You know this.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
coffee is like I remember all Italian women used to run to Dunkin' Donuts at one point. I'm like, shit. If you're trying to find, the old joke was trying to find a Guido, go look at Dunkin' Donuts, you'll find them. Like, and I think coffee, because some things can be overrated, and the way they make it too, it's not as good coffee you think it is because they water it down because they want to get as much coffee out of that bean they can.
Mm-hmm.
Like making my own coffee. Like I know people
Yeah.
who ground their own coffee. That's like too much work for me. I was sticking to the
Right.
old school way. I got it. I got the K cups, bro. I'm ghetto.
Yeah. Yeah. But like I said, I think that I think the marketing, though, I got to give them credit. It was genius. Like when you had these coffee houses started opening up, and they became like, especially like in the '90s, right? 'Cause I think that's when all that stuff started. Like remember, like Friends, the TV show Friends and whatnot. And they're always hanging out in that coffee house, right? So it became like a culture in and of itself. Like you went to Starbucks, you went there, you read your New York Times or your Wall Street Journal, and you and your friends were start 15 years old, you drinking folders, but with the flavor crystals, I'm sure, right? But but yeah, yeah, but I think that they created like in this, like I know, like now, like my daughters, for some reason they love these crumble cookies. I don't know if you heard the place Crumble. It's this
Yeah, I heard.
cookie company. So they got these big cookies, right, about this big, and all they are just sugar cookies, and they put like a bunch of toppings on them. It's not even blended into the cookie. It's just the cookies maybe this thick, and they put this thick of toppings on it. And I'm like, y'all spending $7 a cookie. I'm sorry. Give me a box of Oreos any day of the week over Crumble or any of these niche
Here's
products
where
that they put out there.
I think is worth the money is if you go to like it's a Thai tea place down the street from your boba tea. So they make ice cream rolls from
Bubble
scratch.
tea.
Yeah, he starts chopping it on the ice block and everything. That's what I'll go for. I think he just spent their arm.
No, it's not overrated. I was so disappointed because they came home with them, but I might have had a piece of one. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna buy me some crumble cookies. I went there.
What the hell is this nigga you feel the need?
I saw how they were made. I'm like, come on, guys, $7-8 per cookie. I'm sorry, bro. Give me some Keebler. Give me some Keebler. Give me some Keebler elves. Give me some chocolate chip, or give me the ones with the Reese's chocolate chip in there, or the ones in my area. We got this spot called Innerman's. Give me some Innerman's chocolate chip cookies.
I got something better for you.
Game scene.
I actually like it once in a while. I haven't gotten it in a while actually because it's kind of far. You're gonna make fun of me. I don't give a shit. It's called Krispy Kreme donuts.
You just Erica's gonna be upset with you now. He cannot stand Krispy Kreme donuts.
Give a fuck what he thinks.
But I mean, yeah, I like them, but I'm not so. And for the he just responded in the chat. But for the audience, so I want to ask this question as we start to come to the end of the show. All right. So again, we've been talking about.
We got 2 videos for you guys, by the way. I had 2 funny videos for this humor close out.
Okay. All right. So for the audience, so what will you spend money on? So again, we talk about value, and you can certainly save money by not overspending on certain things or whatever. What will you spend? You know it's expensive, but you don't care. It could be coffee. It could be Crumble is overrated. Yes, I said it. Overrated. All right. Give me some Oreos and or some Vienna fingers or whatever, and I'm good. So yeah, y'all can have your Crumble. That with a glass of milk. Hey, game changer. But again, what are you willing? So obviously we have some Crumble fans, so we already know some people. See, I mean, Milani, where are you from? I think Milani's a time traveler or something. She's talking about I like baking cookies from time to time. It's like I can see her with a little apron on and with the rolling mitt or something like that. She's an old soul. She's like from another. She's from a past gone era or something like that. I don't know, but clearly some people in here. Hang on, people clearly in here will waste $7 per cookie on a crumble cookie. All right, but I just want to know what else, if anything else, will you spend the extra on? It could be a brand name, it could be a label. If you really believe in the label so much, yes, you know it's expensive. You could probably get something elsewhere, but you're willing to spend the money, the extra money on it. You don't even care if you can come out with all the consumer reports and statistics saying that this is better or this is just as good. You don't believe it. You you bet your house on I need this brand name, price be damned, and you're just gonna go and buy that thing. So Eric has already mentioned Haagen-Dazs ice cream. He doesn't care. So look, I can do Breyers, I can do whatever, but he wants Haagen-Dazs. So, but as people are saying that, you make your point, Pete.
So I want her a question from Lonnie. Would you make us like 2 dozen cookies and mail it to us? Like as a gift.
Probably. I mean, she's just.
I'll take chocolate chip cookies, please. I'm straight with that. Paul can take. I don't care about. Send it all to me. I'm the fat guy in here. See. But let's play the 2 fun videos as they're trying to answer your $1,000 question.
All right, go for it.
All right, hang on. Let me get this going here and get it ready for Bossman because I know
Insomnia cookie. That's another Insomnia. I think is better than Crumble, but again, that's another overrated, overpriced product. But I think I would pick Insomnia over Crumble. That I would agree with.
This is off topic. I thought it's kind of funny to show it because we're both dog guys.
No problem. Yep.
So you ready?
Yep.
That's one. Where's the other one?
It's a loyal dog, so don't mess with it. I like your hair the way it is.
I know. This one's actually pretty fucking hilarious.
No way.
He says, fuck that. I'm getting the fuck out of here. A beagle too.
Man's best friend.
No way.
Man's best friend. Shout out to the Beagles, man. Respect.
Yo, dude, I never expected a big old scare fucking alligator away, but goddamn.
Pepperidge Farm. Pepperidge Farm isn't terribly expensive. I mean, I hear what you're saying, but you know, I don't think they're like so far over budget. I mean, it's still cheaper than getting like, you know, Whole Foods or what's the other spot people be shopping at to get, I forget it all. Trader Joe's. You know, I don't think it's that expensive, but I'm talking about people you just know that, you know, like I said, Haagen-Dazs I think was a good one because again, that guy's like, you know, Eric's be like, you know, it's like twice as expensive as anything else, but he'll still buy it. And you don't even get like a full for one pint of Haagen-Dazs, I can get a gallon of Breyers. But you know, people are willing to spend that.
There are some stores that say they're cheaper than others. I'm actually looking up right now to tell you which one. Ollie's. Like the people say Ollie's is like one of the best, cheapest store. I think the product are shit. I will never step foot in there. I stepped in like 3 times. Every time I get disappointed, like I buy a couple things to see how the product is, and then I'm like, I waste my money. I hate Ollie's. Like you gotta watch. Like say, like people think, for example, like ShopRite or Giant or all that stuff. Believe it or not, some products I get, believe it or not, I go down to New York. I drive 2 hours to go to New York. I go to the store Titinas or can't remember the other name, the Greek store, but it has all Greek products, but they're imported. That's the catch. So I'm paying, except meats, they can't import meats, but like cheese and stuff like that, they can import. But you're paying arm and leg for the imported stuff. So just keep that in mind too. So it is what it is.
For real. But we coming to the end of the show. So again, people putting it in. So again, Eric with his Breyers, Wegmans. I know a ton of people shop at Wegmans and whatnot. Yeah, it's definitely a little pricier. Now, Boss Man, he makes a point. Wine, I could certainly see people paying for wine. You know, if you're drinking, I'm a teetotaler, so I don't know about that, but I can certainly understand somebody paying a little extra for a good wine. I certainly appreciate appreciate people who do that. But you know, we're coming down to the end of the show. So again, I think this is a good topic on what people value. I would certainly recognize that, you know, for some people, you know, if you're like me, like I'm just becoming more and more frugal as time goes on, because like I said, I used to be a big tech head, and I think I had the latest and greatest. I kind of got over that, and I just kind of get stuff that suits me. Again, I like going to thrift stores and Marshalls and shopping for secondhand stuff. I don't mind doing that because all I got to do is just wash it, take it to the dry cleaner, fix it up or whatever, and it's good to go. Do I need to spend $200 for a pair of jeans? No. The best jeans that I've worn up until recently, I got from Costco. They got the super stretch fabric, everyday jeans, but I just bought some jeans from Express Men's, fitted stretch jeans, very comfortable. Got them on sale. They were on markdown for $25 a pair, and they fit terrific. They're perfect pair for what I wanted. But do I need to spend $200 for Lucky Brand or some high end brand or whatever? Nah, I don't. You know, for that, that's for me. I don't think so.
People spend all this money on Jordans. I refuse to pay all that money on Jordans.
Yeah, I've never been a big sneakerhead like that. Now again, if I was playing competitive basketball and I'm wearing those things every night, yeah, I may want to invest in a quality product. But for me, I basically work out. So again, cross trainers. But again, I think the last pair of cross trainers I got it from Marshalls for $30. And they were Reeboks that were on markdown. And great shoes. So so again, I don't mind the frugality. If it's going to save me some money, even up to, like I said, vehicles. I know we still may disagree on vehicles. I still say buy 1 or 2 year, save yourself thousands of dollars. BMU, we talked about 2019 Toyota for like 2019 values like 17,995, but a new one for the trim model was 23,005. So you still talk about like 25% of the sales price dropped down from the time it was bought. So again, is it really worth it just for the experience of having that 1 year. Because again, the dealerships, they treat you like royalty if you buy a new car. It's like you go in, they give you a trader card, they treat you like first class. As soon as that drops out or whatever, then it's like they don't know you anymore unless you're in the market for another car. So that's when they treat you. That's when they treat you special. Hey, come on, Mr. Bennett. Here's some coffee or whatever. Here, hang out in our lounge area or whatnot. But if you're just there with your car that you've been taking care of, you've been putting all the service stuff on there, whatever. It's like they don't know you after a while. So even on cars, I'm not willing to necessarily spend top dollar on something. Again, 1 or 2 years, take that money off the top of it, and then we can start talking about stuff. So, but that's all I got on it. But hopefully, this discussion, you might want to think about some of your spending habits. What do you mean? There might be things you might be paying extra for. There might be better brands or better values out there for you. And I think it's certainly worth it if you just take the extra time to just find those things that could be available, save you a lot of money in the long term, and then turn that money and do something more productive with it. But that I think that's my 2 cents and my closing. So Pete, you want to give your final thoughts, and we'll close the show.
I can only talk about food because that's my expertise. Just be careful when you buy and put in your body. Paul will vouch for this, and it's because it's something that is very important for our health. This is where the point is, the value of your dollar. Now, when it comes to clothes and everything else, I would say tech is a little exception because you do pay what you get most times. But when it comes to clothes, why the fuck are you spending top dollars for a pair of like Jordans of $500? Buy the fucking sell shit. You're gonna beat the crap out of them anyway. Why buy? Like there are exceptions to every rule. Like maybe boots, you want to pay some boots are a little more expensive. I get it. Let's be conscious of it. The stuff you're spending money on that, we could be turning our lives around 2 different ways. And I want to leave to that tonight. Paul, you want to close it out?
Absolutely. Well, again, we want to thank everybody coming in. Braxton, the Snake Fiend. Again, as always, thank you for stopping through this night and contributing to the discussion. You were when you dropped that folder, I just lost it because again, I just remember those flavor crystals from those as back in the 70s and 80s. So that took me back there. I didn't even think until you mentioned that. I didn't even forgot that they even still sold the brand. You're bringing me back to like Sanka coffee and like I said, Maxwell House and those old school brands from back in the day. So that was just took me by surprise. But again, thank you as always for coming through. The Queen Lady Navoa, again, thank you as always for contributing certainly into the space and whatnot. And Boss Man, as always, thank you certainly for running things in the back and keeping the show going. But good lively conversation tonight. Even BMU, he decided to come on through tonight and certainly share his 2 cents as well. But again, I think it's certainly a very positive show, and certainly at least gets us thinking in different ways in terms of am I using my money in the right places or spending on the right things. So always a good conversation to have in this gray area space. So for myself, I am Mr. Bennett, and he is.
This is Sparta!
For Ghost of Sparta, aka Peter, aka Biotis. This is the gray area on the Sunday. You guys, either this is the end of your week or the start of your week, however you want to couch it. Have a great week. And just a show update. All right. So again, next Sunday, I'll be here for your hangout because I'm leaving early Sunday morning. So I'll be here for the hangout show Sunday for the next 2 weeks. I will not be here for the gray area. So again, we may have a substitute who may come in the meantime. But again, okay, I'll be on a cruise ship.
Thank you for reminding me. I'm sorry cutting you off, Paul. Next week, we have a special guest in the house.
Okay.
He is a Marine. He is a long ponytail hair guy. That's all I'm going to say to you guys. Stay tuned. We have a veteran coming in. I am so happy to personally interview him because somebody wants to take a vacation, and I hope he gets eaten by a fucking whale.
No, you want the ship to capsize like the Titanic.
No, I want a whale eat your ass. Not gonna have your wife. Just you. I want you living in a whale's stomach. I hope he shits you out.
So like Jonah in the whale, Jonah in the belly of the whale, right?
Guest next week, Bossman, we might be a special guest. So I am looking forward to that, and I gotta figure out what I'm doing a week after that. So anybody want to come up and be my guest for a week, for one day? Please let me know. Thank you.
Awesome. Yes. So again, I'll look to so that I'll be listening if I can. I gotta pay for wireless on the boat, right? Because they don't have like Wi-Fi. Like, so you gotta buy per phone, and it's per phone. I gotta spend like $130 if I want access to like my phone texting and videos on the ship. So I'll be, definitely even Wi-Fi on the ocean. Now once I get into port somewhere, that's a different story. But on the ship itself, yeah, you gotta buy if you want any connection to the outside world. What's that?
Where are you guys going again next week?
We're going to Puerto. I think our first stop is Dominican Republic. Then we're going to Puerto Rico. Then we're going into Nassau, Bahamas. So again, 7-day, and so definitely looking forward to it, and just again, just trying to spend more time with the missus. But again, as I said at the beginning of the show, how all this works out, we'll see. I'll see how adventurous I can get her to be. But yeah, it might be like, hey, you know what? You want to ride? Because I tried to get her to get on a wave runner with me. She didn't want to do it. Now, I've never ridden one, but I was like, hey, it might be cool. Let's ride the wave runner. She's like, eh. So again, she's such a scaredy cat when it comes to everything, pretty much. So I may do that on my own. But yeah, we're just hoping to certainly have a good time and just get closer with someone, and with have some uninterrupted time, and just enjoy this new season in our lives. So definitely looking forward. Long time coming. We haven't been on a cruise since we got married. So you're talking 27 years ago was the last time we were on a cruise, and so definitely looking forward to getting back into that, and hopefully several excursions. Like I said, we're still looking at Greece in 25. And certainly a Mediterranean cruise. Definitely looking into that, and so definitely we'll look forward to that. But with that, any last words, Pete, before we close?
This is the best show on YouTube. That's it.
And I approve that message. So for that, for Mr. Bennett, for the Ghost of Sparta, for all of you, thank you for joining us tonight. You guys have a great week. I'll see you guys in a couple weeks. No, I'll see you in 1 week, because I'll be back the next Sunday. So I'll be back. So I'm only going to miss one show, not two. Oh, okay, but this is the gray area. So again, for you guys, take care. God bless. We'll see you next time. Bye.
All right, guys, another one in the books. Another great episode on the Black Man Unfiltered Network. Listen, we're doing the thing over here. So, guys, do me a favor. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the share button. Also, if you want to donate to the channel, which helps the channel, hit your boy Cash App. It's scrolling right here, right there, at the bottom of the screen, and support the channel. But we're happy that you're here, and we look forward to seeing you on every episode. So hit the notification button so you know when we go live. Thank you again, guys, for watching. We out.